And one of the common things that I see in businesses writ large is that people, like I said, they figure out that they're hungry. They figure out their stomach is kind of hurting. They're not feeling good. But then they don't know what's a good deal. They don't know what's good as far as what they want to eat. Right?
This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So Rob, we're talking about, in business, I said, hey, one of the best things you can do is find a hungry crowd. Now, we've been listening to some of the same people, the Hermoses and the Gary Halbert and all that kind of stuff. But you came back and said, there's more to it than just finding a hungry crowd. What was that line that you had left in?
So the whole thing, finding a hungry crowd is great. And so I want to be clear. I'm not disagreeing with them. But the thing that I think that they talk about a lot that we got to pay attention to as well is I would rather have a hungry crowd that knows how much they want to spend getting unhungry.
All right. And that's what today's episode is about, y'all. We are literally talking about, I introduced the idea that, some things I'm getting upset about, right? I'm seeing in the marketplace. Food is not tasting the same. Companies are, buying out my favorite restaurants and then running it, in my opinion, into the ground. They got more people, more staff. The food tastes worse. The food doesn't taste good. The service is bad, stuff like that. So then we're talking, turning this round into a business conversation. Mm-hmm. And I said to Rob, hey, I'm watching businesses do wrong things. And that's where we started with today's conversation.
No, I love it. And I think that it's so important because, why are they doing those things? You see so many businesses that, they're floundering, they're trying to figure stuff out. I mean, I talk to businesses that are, Fortune 500 companies all the way down to, businesses that are making $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year in the different things that I do. And one of the common things that I see in businesses writ large is that people, like I said, they figure out that they're hungry. They figure out their stomach is kind of hurting. They're not feeling good. But then they don't know what's a good deal. They don't know what's good as far as what they want to eat, right? And it's just like those people that, you ever been in the car with somebody and you've been like, man, I'm hungry. They're like, yeah, I'm hungry too. Let's go get something to eat. It's like, okay, where you want to go? They're like, I don't know, you pick. And you're like, okay, let's go to X restaurant. They're like, well, nah, I don't really want to go there because, it's this, and that. Okay, let's go to XYZ restaurant. Well, no, I don't want to go over there because I ain't really looking for that. And you go through like 4 or 5 different things that are solutions to being hungry, but they got a problem for every solution. And what I found is that when you're talking just to a hungry crowd, while that's better than talking to a crowd that's not hungry, the thing that I like the most is when I'm able to talk to a crowd that's at least, even if they don't know what they want to eat, they're at least willing to value figuring out what we want to go eat before they start trying to buy food off of a menu, right? And in business, for me, the thing that I figured out and we've made part of our business model now is that, we go and we fix problems for people. However, oftentimes those people don't know how much those problems were costing them. They don't know how much the solution is valuable to them and what the benefit is. And they don't even have in place the structures to actually track the improvements that I make. So while they feel good in their gut and they'll give good reviews and say, it was really great working with you, they have no ability to really tell a story that articulates to anybody else after me how impactful to their business I was, other than, kind of using superlative. And so we went to the point, I've basically revamped my business to the point where I only work with clients that either A, already have the budget for what my stuff costs, and they're already planning to spend it somewhere. So now I'm just competing with other things that are at the same price level as mine. And all I have to do is compete at a level that says it was good. It was as good as what they spent that money on last year. Or I'm working with people who are understanding that they need to figure out, how much is this problem costing me? What is it worth? How much am I willing to spend? How much is this investment going to get me? What is going to be my return on investment? And that costs money, right? Like, I don't do that for free. Helping you figure that out, helping you, even if you don't work with me to fix the problem, just that service alone is a service that is valuable for people. And we now only work with people that are willing to get that service so that they have that clarity, because it makes it so much easier on the back end when I'm working with the client, when they're like, this was costing me $100,000. Now my fee looks amazing compared to the $100,000 that they spending, or the $200,000 that they spending on this problem every year, or that they're losing in opportunity costs and everything else.
Yeah, and that brings to mind one of the things that says, okay, well, what is the level of awareness that they have to get to? So I asked a question, and I asked one of the GPTs that I use. I says, how do you make the crowd hungry? They don't know that they have an issue, they have a problem, and it's coming back with some. It was a question I think kind of confused. It's like, what are you talking about? So it's trying to give me some, you know, some answers that make no sense. But I'm really, what that then led me to was a LinkedIn article and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, now that we started back working with some entrepreneurs, and I'm watching the entrepreneurs go through what we take them through for this within this organization. And I'm asking myself, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how hungry are they? Right. So of course, I also do peer-to-peer coaching and stuff like that, right? So I got a peer-to-peer group later today after we get off the call today. And all I said we're going to be talking about from this point forward and for the next, I think, 4 weeks is monetization. That's it. Money making. Monetization. I don't want to be monetization. So I'm coming up and I'm asking this question, but at the same time wondering, how hungry are they?
Yeah.
How hungry are they to search out people hungry like them that can then pay them?
And I think one of the things, because we've talked about this before, like there's different stages that people are at in the buying process. There's people that are completely problem unaware, so they don't even know they got a
problem unaware. Yeah.
Right. They might have the slightest inkling that there's something off or something missing, but they kind of in that space where they don't know what's wrong, they don't know what's going on. Then you got the people that are problem aware. They know what their problem is, right? Like we just created something in my business. I was telling you about this the other day, right? Cost of communication calculator. There's people, if you go to any business anywhere, people are going to talk about the fact that, man, we need to communicate better. Everybody will say something like that. They have no idea how much the problem is actually impacting them, right?
I love that.
And so that's kind of that transition. Once you know how much the problem is impacting you, now you're problem aware. Now you start beginning to look for solutions because you're like, yeah, we need to get this fixed, right? When you're just kind of problem, when you're problem unaware, like that's the whole gamut from I'm completely oblivious to there's something wrong, I don't know what it is. And then once you figure out what it is, you're aware of the problem. Then people get to solution awareness, right? They are aware that there are solutions that are out there. And that allows them to then begin to look at, how do I want to solve this? What do I need? Do I want a coach? Do I want a speaker? Do I want a widget? Do I want a software program? Like, what are the solutions that are out there that most appeal to me? But then once people figure out what types of solutions are out there and what solutions are out there that appeal to them, now they have to then become vendor aware or offer aware, right? So while they may know that they want a coach, there's a whole bunch of coaches out there. Which coach do I want? Which offer is the best offer for me? And so I think a lot of times, like most of the people that we encounter are in that kind of problem unaware stage. So to your point, they're not even a hungry crowd. But what I was talking about was when you get to a hungry crowd, right? Yes, a hungry crowd is better than a crowd that's not hungry. But my preference is to get somebody that's product and solution aware, because now I can talk to them about what they're dealing with. Or if they're product aware, but they're not solution aware yet, the first service I can give them is helping them to become solution aware, right? You don't have to work with me. You don't have to do it with me, but just to help you figure out, this is costing you this much. Here are the different options that are out there to recoup that in the time that it'll take them, right? Maybe you go get a software solution. Maybe you go try to do it on your own. Maybe you do it with me, but at least knowing now you can make an actually apples to apples comparison. That's one of the things that I figured out because I got so many people that come through, um my lead capture funnels and everything that are just getting into being a hungry crowd. And what
Mm-hmm.
I figured out is hungry crowd, there's a lot of distinctions between hungry crowd. One of my mentors talked about it like this. And when you're looking at how to manage your time, they were like, you want to be looking at people that you think are going to close within the next 90 days and then people that are going to close outside of 90 days. And that's kind of how you want to apportion your time. It's not just are people hungry. And I think this is the key thing. Are people hungry and they planning on eating today? Or are people hungry and they planning on eating right now?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, in marketing, in my marketing, this is what I'm spending a lot of time. Even I'm spending this time even down to changing up the way I put stuff on landing pages, right? A lot of it's more real. I'm putting none of that,
Mm-hmm.
AI unlock and uncover and, all these different things you can kind of go, oh, that's AI, right? Because of the words that they use. And saying stuff that's almost like I'm talking right to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just right to you. And some of the wording that I've been testing this out on LinkedIn. I've been doing a lot of articles on LinkedIn, and I've been literally just coming out with a statement, and I'm getting feedback from people saying, "Man, that's I knew that wasn't AI," and it almost as if you're talking right to me, like a real person.
Nice.
So I've been, narrating and I'll tell by how many impressions a thing gets and how many whatever, right? And then I always put a link to something, YouTube channel or something, right? But I've been coming out and doing that, man. And I remember when when I did that a long time ago, it was pre a graduate degree. And it's almost like
Mm.
it just came back to me. Even my professor was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't wait for your post. That's what they would say. I couldn't wait for your post because he always started off with this intriguing way of engaging us immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give you an example, y'all. So one of the things, and I got my whole little list article starts because I've been waking up and it's back. I'm coming up with these things, right? So one of the story starts. I says, here it is. It says, and I actually sent you a email
Mm-hmm.
that I started off with it,
Yeah.
right? And you probably was like, what does it do? I says, I'm about to suggest
Mm-hmm.
something rather strange,
Yeah.
right? So you start off with that. So and then I've been testing it in just different areas, right? But this is about creating wording in a way that brings about somebody going, what? Somebody leaning in. So this is the creation, if you will, of the hunger, at least to go and see what else you're getting ready to say, because you just hit them with something that they didn't see coming. All right. And here's another one. Here's another one. Poke holes in this for me, will you?
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
immediately are starting off with wording that says, I'm going to accept some critique. That's
Yep.
unusual. People
Yep.
usually don't come off like that. And then here's another one. It says, this is probably not worth it to you. And then
Mm.
so this is probably not worth it to you because somebody is asking, what is this dude
Mm-hmm.
talking about? Is this going to be worth it to you? So I'm literally saying it up front. This is probably not worth it to you. And then I'm going to go into my narrative so that they can go, wait a minute, that was very worth it. And at the end, of course, my call to action is, hey, if this has been worth it to you, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to invite you to go over to. So little things that I've been doing, man, to start agitating. We talked about this before, agitating the problem, but really just
Mm-hmm.
starting to drive you into, I know you're probably not hungry, but I want to create something so interesting and exciting that you say, I got to take a bite of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Right. And I think it's
Right.
going to
It's
start.
creating the hunger and creating the urgency of not only am I hungry for it now, or not only am I hungry for it in general, I'm hungry for it now.
Right. And here's one thing that I've been using that's really, I think is interesting. We've got AI that's getting ready to go online, like live for real. And I mean in a way that people are going to go, I'm worried about everything now. I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about ever eating again, all these different things because we're talking about humanoid robots,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're going to be growing up in an era where we still go and do some of these things that they're going to go, we got it. and we won't get
Mm-hmm.
tired. We won't ask for a vacation, and we'll never harass anybody, and we'll never. So
Mm-hmm.
I one of the things I said I'm gonna this is an upcoming article that I'm writing that then it's gonna drive people into. So you want to get started on this right now? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna start off with saying, should I even talk about it? And then I'm gonna say robots. No,
Mm-hmm.
more specifically, humanoids. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop there. And then I'm in my mind, I'm pausing, but then the next line is now I'm hitting in an area that they may have heard a little bit about it, but I want to agitate the problem to a point where they go, what are you selling that will
Mm-hmm.
decrease my fear, that will
Mm-hmm.
allow me to still believe I can earn a living despite
Mm-hmm.
what's about to happen?
Exactly.
Right. And that's it. And of course, mine is going to lead
And
them
I love
into,
that. And the whole thing is how are you helping me to decrease? How are you helping me to feel better? Right. Like is the basic thing. And
yeah.
to your point, there's a fear prospect, there's all the rest. I think a lot of it, right? In everything that we do, it doesn't matter if you're selling actual food or if you're selling, solutions to other problems. The whole thing about it is the reality of what people are buying is not only the satiation of whatever they're feeling right now, as far as the immediate stimulus. So, like even for people that are hungry, what people are buying is not just feeling not hungry right now. They're buying feeling not hungry for the foreseeable future until their next meal,
Mm.
right? Otherwise, you just go get, and you know the drill. You can get snacks and you're hungry again in 15 minutes. The reason why people don't do that, like they'll do that if they have to, because they don't want to be hungry. If they're starving, they'll eat something that they'll be hungry in a little bit. But for the people that are in that space where they're like, I could eat, I'm not starving, but I could eat. What you're actually trying to do is help them to deal with the hunger that they have right now, but also to deal with the fear that they're going to be hungry later when there's not food around, when there's not something they get. Perfect example. And I think this might have been a Hormozy example, but right, talking about putting a food truck out where when bars get out
Yeah.
at
Yeah. I
two
think I
o'clock in the
heard.
morning, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole idea is it's not just that you have the hungry crowd, but you also have the fact that everything else is closed. So they know that if they don't get food right here, they're not going to get food until they get home and make something, right? And that's if they have food that they want to make at home. Or it's like those gas stations, like if any of you all, if you ever driven out west, one of the things that you'll see is like last gas for 200 miles,
Yeah.
last gas for 50 miles, right? And so it makes you make a decision of, I don't want to stop for gas right now, but I only have 100 miles left before I'm on empty, and there's no gas for another 150 miles. So even though I don't really want to stop for another 30
Yeah.
minutes or so,
Yeah.
I need to stop now.
Always
And
pee and
those are
get
the types,
gas.
say what?
Always pee and get gas.
Exactly, right? And the key thing about it is, and this is kind of what we try to do in our business, is to let people know what the penalty is for not acting now. It's not so
That's it.
much that I'm telling you, you need to act now. You may not need to act now. I don't know. But what I will tell you is not acting now is going to cost you this. Are you
Mm.
willing to pay that cost?
I like that. And I think for when you're listening to this, everyone, in the comments, tell us if we're, full of canal water. If you say, hey, look, these dudes are tripping. Think about this, what we're saying, and bring it to your business and wonder, with the current clients that you have, or if you're just starting off, how
Mm-hmm.
would you go out into the marketplace and say, I'm now positioned to be your choice to satisfy that need? Here's
Mm-hmm.
one, Rob, that I used to tell food truck people. And to me, maybe I'm tripping, but it just seems too easy, and I never see this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people typically after church go eat.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my food truck vendors, and I had a hard-headed one. And,
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I says, listen, this is what I would like you to do. Just do it for me. Park outside outside a pretty reasonably sized church.
Mm-hmm.
Park outside. Give them the food that they can take with them.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of course they're dressed. So get
Yeah,
this,
have your containers,
they're not
have your.
gonna want to eat your hot dog because they might
Mm-mm.
get on there on Sunday's best. But
Mm-hmm.
have it ready for them to take with them.
Yep.
Now they're going to look. This is what I believe, that you got a crowd that normally has a habit of going out to dinner, right? Now they just put money in the till, right? And now they got to go
Mm-hmm.
out to feed the family because it's a used to thing. You can save that person money right
Mm-hmm.
there. They get to take it
Mm-hmm.
to the house and go watch the game, whatever it is.
Yep.
They hard head didn't do it, but that was positioning
Yep.
yourself in front of a
I agree with
crowd
you.
that probably says, I may or may not be hungry, but I was gonna go because I was saving it to go eat, but it's right here.
It's right here. It's convenience, right? I agree with you. Same thing if you look at if I was a food truck vendor, if I was somebody who like if I was a street vendor, right? And I'm from Chicago, so they got this down pat in the shop. New York is like that too. They know when all the events are because that's your money making days. And what they do is they make sure that they post it up somewhere where they can do their thing when an event is coming out because you're going to have 10 times as many people coming by as you will on a normal day. And so part of what, like if I ran a food truck right now, just looking at food trucks, I would look at literally what are the event schedules of wherever the locale that I'm in. And whatever else I'm doing, I am at those events and I got that calendar already booked out. Now I'm just filling in on those extra days. It's kind of like, how retail businesses, a lot of retail businesses will make 3/4 of their year on Black Friday,
Yeah. And
right? They
expected time to
prepare
spend.
everything. Exactly. Right. And they prepare everything. They're doing all their deals and they're doing all the stuff they do to get traffic on Black Friday because that pays for the whole rest of the year.
Yes. But what about Black Friday in June? I'm just saying. Right. So I get
Right.
this as to how do we create now this is what we're talking about. How do we create the hungry, the starving crowd? How do we create that,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's artificially
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
now
Yep.
get this, I get something in my mailbox today. Now I'm pleased when this kind of stuff happens, right? Because I have clients that I teach this stuff to. Some apply it, some do not. The ones that apply it
Mm-hmm.
always win.
Right.
Period. Okay.
Right.
So I get it looks like a handwritten note. It's on stock paper because I noticed all these
Mm-hmm.
different things, right? I thought, oh, this is kind of thick paper. It
Mm-hmm.
still bends. It looks like it's handwritten. And the guy on there says, it's got his logo and it says, we are going to be working on some roofs in your neighborhood.
Yep.
Now, now I'm taking this to my peer group today, and because
Mm-hmm.
remember we're talking about monetization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody had to go and do that, right? Walk around, right? Canvas the thing, all that kind of stuff. And they said, now I happen to be thinking about building on in my house,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I live in a little house, right? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
look, I look around, it's like, okay, it's time. Right. Bookending me is, 500 grand and then, 500 grand. And I'm like, okay, bro. So now the neighborhood will support you building on. And I want the
Right.
room, but I like the idea that this front part could maybe be an office, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This thing comes at a time when I'm thinking I'm not necessarily hungry, but I might eat.
Yep. Yep.
And
If the
I get
right
a
thing comes along, you'll eat, right?
right.
And the thing that here's something that I think is, and what they did, the macro, and this is the part where I I push back against the kind of conventional, and I know, right? I'm arguing, I'm talking to a marketer. So in this space, from a marketing perspective, I agree with you. You can make a market, but it's kind of like swimming upstream, right?
Sure. Yes, it
I
is.
love what Myron Golden says, and one of my other mentors talks about it this way as well. Darren Hardy, he talks about it. So Myron Golden says, so many people are out there trying to find customers to sell their stuff to.
Right.
When when you got it all backwards, right? What you want to do is find who the people are that are already looking for your stuff and make it easier for them to find you, right? So I think that's the first piece. That's like instead of trying to swim upstream and spending all this energy swimming upstream, figure out where the current is going and get into the stream at a place where the current will take you where you're trying to go, right? But the other thing Darren Hardy talks about is, right, you can go and fish in the ocean. You can go and fish in a lake, you go fish in a river, or whatever you want to do if you go on fishing. It's one way to do it. And you'll catch some fish every once in a while. But if you go fish in a barrel of fish, you exponentially increase your rate of catching fish, right? Yes. So instead of going and trying to find the fish where they may be, hang out with people that have already corralled those fish together and spend your time in those places, right? And we've started doing that even in our business. We one of the things that we talk to, I've been talking to my clients because I've been struggling with this, banging my head against this wall as well, even in my business. And it's been one of the big things that's been keeping us from scaling. It's like, where do our ideal clients hang out? And we figured out, of course, easiest way to figure that out is to ask them where they hang out and where they find other people like us. It's like, oh, duh, we don't got to try to, soothsay and read tea leaves and everything. Just go talk to them. So one of the things my team's been doing has been really interviewing our clients and saying, hey, when you're looking for someone who does stuff like we did before you found us, where did you used to look? Where did you used to go to find information about this? Who did you used to interact with and everything? So we just went and found where they already hang out. And now we're just going to those places and saying, hey, anybody else looking for this? And it's been an amazing transformation in that space of being able to do that. And so I think the pushback that I would give to making a market and making people pay attention to you, which is necessary. Like, I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is a lot of times people work harder, not smarter, and they spend their time trying to make people who just ate hungry. Yeah. It's like they're not going to be hungry for another 8 hours. Relax on them. It's some people that's coming out of church or some people that's coming out of an event. We know they haven't had nothing to eat for 3 hours. They're probably hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go talk to them.
It seems almost too easy. But I mean, and this is why we come on and the two business guys come on and mastermind. We master. Look, let's be honest. So I'd like to come on here just to figure out some of my own thinking. And Rob adds a different perspective. It's either I disagree, think about this, or yeah, and.
Yes.
So when we're sharing these kind of things with you, we can be your yeah, and moments, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
sometimes we might even be your disagree moments.
And you might be
put it in the comments.
Time out. We don't believe you, right? And we go, okay, would you like us to show you? Kind of a thing, right?
Right. I can show you better than I can tell you.
So, and it's just interesting to watch all this stuff unfold, especially as we are probably going to have to go into business kind of things because robots are going to take over all the little stuff that we used to do. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to earn a different. I literally just bought this domain the other day. It's called, and I'm looking right at it, Your Future Dollars. Mm-hmm. And Your Future Dollars, I bought both of them. I bought the com and net, so y'all can't get it. Right? Your Future Dollars. And all I'm going to be doing is spinning up a site that talks about how you're going to earn your money in the future. Mm-hmm. Here are some ideas. Here's some tools. Here's some tips. Here's some tricks. Blah, 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 right? And I had been thinking, I was surprised I didn't own that already. I literally went to my domains. I got like 120, it's 130 something now. But anyway, and I thought I owned it because it was an idea that I had. Yeah, well, I got ideas for all of them now. I'm literally putting them all on a site, period. Because I got some more information in that I didn't know. And I was like, well, a guy is making a lot of money by just having his stuff available. So when you go to the site, if you notice, you see these Taboola ads. And all it is it's like this blue background and these little boxes. And I thought, wait a minute, can I do that same thing? Yes. So if somebody happens to go there, then they get this, but then behind it is an ad and they click on something. Every now and then I'll click on something because it's interesting. So anyway, then now I have them all in service.
Yep.
All able to be.
And that's so powerful. And I think talk a little bit about that, Randy, because like I know that we've talked, we've heard people have heard you say how you're into digital real estate, but talk about the similarities between what you do now and how that is analogous to what you used to do when you were a real estate investor, a real real estate investor.
When we say real, we mean on the ground versus digital.
Exactly.
All right, so here it is.
Exactly.
I said to myself, I want to own property that would then do a thing for me. I was making good money at this job. I needed tax havens. I needed something that would reduce out my taxable event, right? Your adjusted, it gets you to a great adjusted gross
AGI.
income. Boom.
Yep.
Then I said, well, wait a minute. It becomes another asset class that appreciates your money. So you look at it like this and you go, this is appreciating. If I spend 100 grand on this house, then it should go up by X amount per year. In other words, capital in, appreciation of capital. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The expensible part comes as if you mortgaged it out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the trick was, of course, to be able to buy something cheap, put a couple bucks into it, mortgage that out, and suck out the money.
Exactly.
Right? Because it becomes a different kind of taxable event. Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
when I started thinking about this and the market went flat and everybody was like, okay, you can't make no money. It seemed that nobody had jobs. So now you weren't getting rents. People were like scaling, jumping off on you from rents. It just became
Mm-hmm.
untenable. Now these things, if they had mortgages on them, became kind of the albatross, right? It's like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
I can't pay this. I'm gonna go bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. So when
Mm-hmm.
I started discovering creating digital real estate, I started asking this question. Can I do some of the same things at a lower price point? Right? It's a higher leverage moment. In other words, if you could buy a property on the ground real estate for 10 grand, right? And it's $100,000 worth. Well, you could do the math on that and go, oh, shoot, I bought it for 10. I can rent it out, but it's worth this. Okay.
Right.
So, but what ended up happening is now that on the ground real estate is just so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't get the idea of being able to buy something and have maximum, room in there immediately. And it's
Mm-hmm.
only going
Maximum
up
leverage, right?
incrementally. Well, digital real estate, I can buy something for pennies. Like I can either buy something that's already there and I can ask what kind of money is coming in because of all that digital real estate does for you. In other words, do I got people coming into this digital piece of real estate? And if you can go, yep, and you say, well, how many? You can look at that and says, well, if I got, 400 people coming in a day, that's X amount per month. If I put stuff in front of them, they're obviously searching for something, hungry crowd. Could I
Mm-hmm.
put something in front of them that they might want to get because they're
Right.
already coming? Now,
And it
remember, you can
doesn't even
buy
have to
this
be
for
your
small.
thing.
That's right. You can buy it for small, and now you can leverage that thing that's already happening. So then if you say to yourself, well, shoot, because I got these people coming in, I can send them to, email list. I can put offers in front of them and I can put stuff on those offers. Like I got this class coming up and I'm talking about that, right? I can put this stuff on there. It's a link fill thing that if they click on the link, they go. So now you start thinking, wait a minute, that didn't cost me $100,000 to do. And then
Mm-hmm.
you get traffic on there. Let's say you want to sell it. And someone comes in, yeah, I'll give you, 4 times the amount it's coming in because I think I can improve it, make it better. So you can
Mm-hmm.
still do math on that and go, well, my investment is really small. I didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
lord over this thing all the time by going in fixing windows and toilets and all that kind of stuff and fighting with. We talked a little bit about this in some earlier, but now
Mm-hmm.
you say, I got an asset that's doing this thing for me automatically almost, right? Passively because it sits there and drives traffic. And your job is to say, can I get more traffic over there to it? Can I put it in front of more churches that are letting out, more bars that are letting out? If you heard us talking about this earlier, if you're just coming in, that's
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about, placing stuff in front of people that are already doing something, intent-based
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So now you
Mm-hmm.
go, well, if this becomes that opportunity to put it, set it, forget it, passively kind of come in and check on it, how many should I create? You should create as many as you possibly can. And as I talked about having multiple domains, but they were some were just sitting there. Now I'm saying I'm just going to put them in a spot that is going to cost me pennies per month. or per year to have. I've got the
Mm-hmm.
kind of tools, and I put this, if you look at some of the other videos, I always put it in there. Here are the tools I'm using too.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a tool that allows me to do that at scale, and when we say at scale, we mean low cost, a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
right? At
Yep.
scale, now
Low cost, high volume.
you deserve the opportunity to put your stuff in a place that if you get traffic there, you can monetize that traffic. Y'all seeing it? Monetize the traffic they're already searching. And this is where I talk about it, some of my other stuff, my other programs. Rob, I got a couple of I'm not even gonna go into it, y'all, but I got a couple of things, some sites, not only sites, because I'm on fire now, right? And then I've got some other things that I'm inviting people to, right? My Monetize Your Life Academy, my Citizen CEOs. But anyway, these become places where you come in and you're part of a group and a crowd and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we help you in the area that you want to be helped. But because of that traffic, it's monetizable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So
So then,
think about that.
as we close up, I think one of the cool things about it for me, whenever I hear you talk about it, and whenever we kind of dig into it, is that opportunity to take lessons that, right, as we talk about, real estate is it's a high leverage position, and if and you know, there's been classes, courses, all the rest of that, but the market has shifted a lot over the last 10, 15 years. But one of the things is you can take those same lessons from what real estate investing is and apply it
Yes.
over here in the cyberspace. And I think that what a lot of people will learn and be able to really glean from you, and if they are interested in this, they want to reach out, is when you find what people want, when we know where the hungry people are, you don't necessarily have to be the person that figures out what to feed them. You don't have to necessarily be the person that creates what they eat. You don't necessarily have to be the person that, right? Like Walmart doesn't make product. All they did is found a whole bunch of people who wanted stuff, figured out what they wanted, and then found people that made it and made the connection. That's all a Walmart
Yes.
store is.
Yes.
Walmart goes and buys all the stuff, puts it in their stores, and it goes off the shelf like that.
Handles distribution, handles returns, handles all this stuff for you. You
Yep,
just have to come up with the stuff. They're really a big old
exactly.
marketing company if you think about it.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
retail location marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Exactly. That's what they do. So I think that, you know, as you all go forward, that's some of the things to think about. But the takeaway I would say for today is, yes, it's important to find a hungry crowd if
Yes.
you're selling food. My argument would be it's even more important to find a hungry crowd who wants to eat now
And can afford to pay you what you're asking for.
and can afford to pay and is ready to pay what you want to charge. Those two things, they're hungry and they are willing to pay for your solution. Like I love when you go on Google and you can look and see how expensive a restaurant is, right? Because in my head, I know how much money I'm willing to pay to go eat tonight. And once I know whether this restaurant fits that or not, then I get to say, yep, I'm going there, or no, I'm not. When I don't know how much it is, now I got to look at the menu. Now I got to do a whole bunch of stuff. And now, if your menu isn't awesome, if you have, even if the prices are okay, I'm mad because I had to go figure it out. So I might not go to your restaurant.
Man,
But if you can
reach.
ensure that you figure out what I want before I'm looking at you, you never have to feel that fire.
Yeah, this ain't. I was this one restaurant, man, and they're doing something interesting, but I'm still pissed off with them because I go there, I got to get my own water. Come on my own
Exactly.
water, and then the app doesn't always work right. That okay,
Right,
sit down,
right.
scan here, and then you order what you want, and it's not working right. I'm sitting around, I'm asking for
Mm-hmm.
help, I can't find anybody, right? I got to get my own
Mm-hmm.
damn water, right? And I'm
Yep,
like,
yep,
come
yep.
on, I don't
And they
want to.
trying to act like they doing you a service.
But here's something that they did that was absolute freaking genius. Karaoke night. Now, if
Mm.
somebody hears this and you know who you're the owner of this restaurant, you know who I'm talking about. Now, I'm still a little upset with you, but I love karaoke, and the place now is
Yep.
karaoke night. And I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
karaokeer, but I like listening to people, and I'm going because when I went the last time, I saw
Mm-hmm.
people I hadn't seen in a while, so now it becomes more. It becomes
Hmm.
more than just the goods, it's a signal. Y'all
Yes.
seeing it?
And if you look at that, there's a story, there's a video, Magic Johnson and Howard Schultz talking about this very thing on how they made Starbucks what Starbucks is. Because like Starbucks used to just be a coffee shop, like a legit coffee shop where it wasn't even you come and drink coffee. It was you come and get coffee beans. It was kind of for, artsy people who wanted
Yeah,
specific types of coffee
yeah,
from around the world. And what Howard Schultz did is they call it the third place, right? You got home, you got work, and they wanted to create Starbucks as the third place that you go in your daily life to hang out. So that's the reason why there's music, there's lounge areas, there's different pastries and all the rest of that. They created an ambiance for people specifically to do that, to create, excuse me, the third place that you would hang out. And then
yeah,
Magic Johnson talks about how he turned that third place into an urban third place, right? Even though it's still coffee, still all the rest of that, but the different things that they put in there just to make sure that for urban people, it felt more
yeah.
comfortable. And I mean, they went gangbusters and everybody thought they wouldn't be able to do it. I think they started them off for like 5 Starbucks. And by the time Magic got finished, he had 125 Starbucks.
But again, he created something that made people want to go. Karaoke place made
Mm-hmm.
something. I was at a spot, a black owned a restaurant, and they were having not a restaurant. It's like a coffee and cocktails, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm not much of a drinker, but I went because they had an event, and that got me there. While there, I know
Mm-hmm.
the place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's think about that. It normally is just a spot where you can go get a cocktail or you can get coffee. And I ended up drinking a mocktail and coffee, right? Like at 7 o'clock. So I didn't sleep that night. Well, my point is, I went and I enjoyed myself because they
Mm-hmm.
had a book signing, a thing. They had something. What are you doing out there with your business that is the attractant to your business?
Exactly.
I'm telling you, man. And this is what I was trying to say
Right.
earlier. I was,
Are
I
you
was
fishing with a hook or you got bait on that
exactly right now. If fish are stupid, they're gonna just jump on the hook. I've been, you catch them on the side. What is that hook?
hook?
But these membership sites, that's what I was thinking about that I'm building, right? The Monetized
Mm-hmm.
Life Academy is a membership site. The Citizen C is also a membership site. My wife's Join Hasu is a membership site. So my point is, have this thing where people can come, and then when they come, they get in, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable because now that
Mm-hmm.
cost, $12 a month, 144 bucks a
Mm-hmm.
year, whatever it is, right? But the point is, when you get there, you're going to enjoy yourself and you're going to
Yes.
probably come back. That's the creation of it. All right. That's all we're going to leave for
Yeah.
you, everybody. That's the digital real estate. That's the on ground real estate. That is, how do you create getting people to it? How do you solve some of these problems, agitating the problem, all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff that we wanted to share
Yeah.
with you today. Hopefully, you got value out of this. If you did, send it over to somebody. We are the official website is just about done. I was going to surprise Rob with that, and it's just about done. And then you will have a place. I literally have this now on 24/7 live. I got an app that has these.
Nice.
I got like a series of 6 of us doing all, and I'm testing this out. I told the guys, I said,
Mm-hmm.
look, if this goes well, I will be an affiliate for you and stand on a milk crate and tell everybody. If not, I will not. So I'm testing them out. I'm going to give them about 2 months. I bought like a 3-month package that all it
Nice.
does is puts things out there all the time. So now that's awareness plus.
I
Y'all
love
see
it.
it? All right. We'll talk more about it in the next video, y'all. See you
All
there.
right, everybody. Have a good one.